Here to react, ranking member of the House Intel Committee, GOP Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, thanks for being here. You've been ahead of the curve on all of this since the beginning. You took a ton of criticism when it first started. Now that there's this first guilty plea in the Durham probe, put us under the hood. Should we expect more?
Well, we sure hope so. I want to make sure everyone knows that this was one of the main attorneys that was involved in all the different aspects of what happened during this Russian hoax that was perpetrated on the American people and on the Republican Party and the president himself and his team. It's important to remember that this is the attorney that I always called the French-speaking attorney. He was the one that said "Vive la resistance" when he was asked, is he going to quit? He was also very concerned about whether or not that his name was on a lot of these documents. So he clearly knew that he had a problem right after the election. I think that Durham is letting him off extremely easy. There's multiple indictments that could have been brought, probably including conspiracy and including destruction of evidence. So my guess is maybe he's going to cooperate, maybe he's not, but this is a good first step.
What do you anticipate, Congressman, coming next? Will there be more revelations of deceit? What's your guess?
Well, if you listen to what Attorney General Barr said the other night on his interview with Mark Levin, I guess it was last Sunday, about a week ago, I thought he said something along the lines of there's a lot of conspiracies here that have to be tracked down. And that's what people have to remember. This was the corruption here was so wide and broad based. It stretches not just from the FBI and the Department of Justice. It also stretches back to the Democratic National Committee, the Clinton campaign, many operatives, foreign spies. Everybody talks about, the mainstream media continues to talk about Russia, Russia, Russia. Well, they're also implicated in this fiasco also. They were involved, they were receiving the dossier. There's also a very popular left-wing think tank in Washington, D.C. called the Brookings Institute. They're knee-deep in this. The Department of Defense was funneling money over to a group in Cambridge that was actually spying on the Trump campaign. So there's a lot of moving parts here. I hope that at least before the election, we get a full report of everything that I just laid out so that we know at least exactly what happened. And from there, a lot of people need to be brought to justice for this, but the main thing is we need the truth.
Shifting topics for one moment, Congressman, I want to ask you about a proposed law in your home state, a wealth tax in California. It'd be the first of its kind in the United States. Under this proposal, residents who leave California, move out of the state, could be taxed for up to 10 years on their wealth. Does this have any hope of passing in California? What do you make of this proposal?
Well, what you're watching is California was really the first state that went into socialism, into one-party control. Essentially, a Politburo took over the Democratic Party. You move people, apparatchiks like Kamala Harris, who's really never run for anything. She's never had to run. One time she got on the stage as a front runner in the Democratic presidential candidate. She flamed out. She was so embarrassed she didn't even wait for Iowa because she was probably going to finish last. So this is a party that has moved towards socialism. Now what you're seeing is the next step, which ultimately is communism, because they don't have enough of other people's money to pay for everything. So what they're talking about doing is they're talking about going through and assessing everyone and then just taking part of that money. Now, surprisingly, the people that they're going to hit the hardest will be the tech tyrants and the tech oligarchs that live in Silicon Valley, which, by the way, they don't vote for Republicans. Now, you've already seen Elon Musk, Tesla. He's now moving his operations to Texas. My guess is he's going to be out of California. If this gets anywhere close to passing, what you will see, even their best supporters, the tech oligarchs, will leave. They will leave California, and they won't be back. And so this is not a solution, but it's what happens when you make the transition from socialism to communism.
They're flirting with the idea of kicking out their tax base, which means they can't do anything that they want. Which
not kicking them out, Pete, clawing them back after they move away.
That's true. I stand corrected. Yeah. Devin Nunes, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.